let's start with the paper discussion. Okay, so before yeah. So first and very important thing, when you are going to attempt any board paper, that is the read instructions carefully. So obviously for science one also you are going to read the instructions, because many of the students have the confusions that what to do and what not to do in question number 1. So I have just that means I'm going to share one picture with you, and that picture is last year, previous year's board paper. So this is the original board paper's screen. You can see here. Okay. So now here you can see that the instructions adds all questions compulsory, use of a calculator not allowed, the number to the right of question indicate full marks. In case, now this is the important instruction. In case MCQs, question number 1A only, the first attempt will be evaluated and will be given credit. So you are not supposed to do overwriting in this question. Okay. And also how to attempt that question. For each MCQ, the correct alternative, you have to just write down the alternatives like A, B, C, or D. Okay. There is no need to write down the what are the options, that means the answers into that. So you can see here, for example, question 1 A, second B, third C. So this is very important instruction for you to avoid any confusion. And the last one is the scientifically correct label diagram should be drawn whenever necessary. That means they will not always ask you to draw the diagram likewise. Okay. So whenever you think you have a diagram in the textbook related to that question, then you should draw that diagram. So that is about the instructions. And now we are going to start with our question paper, and we are going to see the answers also. So yes, the preliminary examination too. Okay. समझ में आएगा अभी? So that was the first question. The question says the value of gravitational acceleration g is, and as we know that the gravitational acceleration, it is depend upon the distance between the two objects, and whenever the distance is less, at that time only the gravitational acceleration value will be increased. So it is highest at the pole, because the distance between pole and center of earth is the shortest distance, and that is why the value of gravitational acceleration g is highest at its pole. Now the next question is, dash is in liquid form in the halogen family. So in halogen family we have fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine, and we know that the gradation into that halogen family. So the liquid form of that halogen family is, it is the bromine, which is into the liquid form. Okay, fluorine and chlorine into the gaseous form, bromine into the liquid form, and iodine, it is into the crystal form. That means the solid form also available. So let's move on the next question. So this is the Newland's law of octave is applicable up to. So that is again the very favorite one. So Newland's law of octave is applicable up to the calcium. So option B is the answer for that. Okay. Now here you are looking at a presentation. That is why you are looking seeing this kind of mark here. You are not supposed to write the whole question and click on that, tick on that option like this. Okay. I'm going to share one more document at the end of this paper discussion, how to write down the paper. Okay. So the next one is the light changes its direction when going from one transparent medium to another transparent medium. This is called a very easy question, and it gives the answer as a refraction of light. Now here you need to be a little bit careful, because in reflection and refraction there is a confusion among some students, as well as they also feel that it is also dispersion, like in case of prism, but that is the different phenomena. Okay, so our answer is only refraction of light. Okay, and then the last question, that is the in the chemical formula of zinc blende, dash dash is the chemical formula for the zinc blende. Yes, so zinc blende, it is in zinc blend, it is ZnS. It's a sulfide ore of the zinc. Okay, so it is a zinc sulfide. It is known as the zinc blend. So that was the first A part. You are supposed to write down just options. Now for the next question, question 1B. Now look at here. They ask you to find the odd one out. So here it's a C2H2, C3H8, C3H6, CH4. Now in this case, you have to identify what is the name of these different carbon compounds. So these carbon compounds are like methane, ethane, then next is the propane. And what about this? This is not the alkane. All three are the alkanes, but this is the alkyne. Okay, so it is the ethyne. So in this case, C2H2, it is the alkyne that is with the triple bond, and that is why it is the odd one, as all of you get this answer correct one. Okay, now next is complete the correlation. So here you can see that focal length is into the meter. So what is the power of lens? Yes, the unit is diopter. Now most of the students, they missed on this diopter. So be careful while write down the spelling as well, because here only one word is carry one mark. So in that case, the spelling of that word should be correct. Okay, so diopter is the answer. Now we are going to see our next question. Okay, that is the match the pair. So here you can see that in group A, they have given you the copper and tin, and group B, they have given you three options. That is the steel, bronze, and brass. Okay, now you have to select correct option and write that option only against the copper and tin. So correct answer is the bronze. So the option B, bronze, you are going to you have to just write that option only instead of the this kind of arrow thing. Okay, so this is just to understand that we are going to get the correct answer. So bronze is the alloy which is from the copper and the tin. Now next question, it is about state true or false. Now also remember, in this case you are supposed to write down just true or false. You are not supposed to give any reason why it is true or why it is false. Okay, or you are not supposed to write down the correct statement. That means you are not supposed to rectify that statement if it is a false statement. So here the purple color has the lowest refractive index, and the answer is not true. It's a false. So it's a false statement. So we are going to see now the next question. Okay, now the question says, fifth question says, name the satellite series of India to exactly locate position of any place on Earth's surface in terms of precise latitude and longitude. So as yes, you have to write down, it is the IRNSS. It is the Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. So it is for the navigation satellite. So Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System we use. That is the name of the series of India. Okay. So if they just asked about you to for the navigation, then you can say that it's a navigation satellites. But in case of India, if they are asking any series, then you have to mention the particular series, Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. So this is all about the question number 1, and I hope most of you got out of mark in this first question. So now we are going to move into the next question, that is the question number 2A. Give scientific reason. They will give you that means board will ask 3 scientific reasons. Out of that, any 2 you have to write it down. So first was, simple microscope is used for watch repairs. Now we are going to see the answer point wise. So first point, you can see that a watch has a many tiny parts. To see them clearly, watch repair has to strain his eyes. Okay, so as the parts are tiny, it will create a strain on the eyes. When an object is placed, okay, when an object is placed within the focal length of a convex lens, it is magnified and erect image is obtained. So that image is also on the same side. So it is very useful when you use a convex lens. Okay, the image can be obtained at least at least distance of distinct vision by adjusting the distance between the object and the lens. That means you can adjust that distance and you can obtain a clear image by using the convex lens. Also, we know that we can get 20 times larger image of an object using such a simple microscopes. So simple microscopes are sufficient for us to see the parts, tiny parts of that watch. So that is a sufficient one. That is why the watch repair can see minute parts of the watch more clearly with the help of simple microscope than with naked eye without any and strain on the eye. Hence, simple microscope is used by the watch repair. So remember here, you have to write down what is the necessity for use the convex lens or lens, because the parts are tiny. Then it because of that it produces a stress. Then to relieve from that, we need one lens such that it will provide us the magnified erect image. Okay, and that is why we use the convex lens. So now going toward the next question, that is sodium is always kept in kerosene. So we know that sodium is a very reactive. So we are going to mention that in the first point, that sodium is highly reactive metal. Then sodium reacts so vigorously with atmospheric oxygen that it catches fire if it kept open into the atmosphere. So that will be our second point. Then sodium do not react with the kerosene. Okay, as we know that it is not going to react with the kerosene, so we are going to keep it into that. But what if it float on the kerosene? So we have to mention that the density of sodium is higher than the kerosene, so it sinks into the kerosene and it prevent contact with the atmospheric oxygen also, and that is why it is not going to react there also. So safely we can keep the piece of sodium metal into the kerosene and it will protect it. So that is why we are going to keep sodium into the kerosene. So that was the answer. Now we are going to see the next question, that is when the gas form on heating limestone is passed through freshly prepared lime water, the lime water turns milky. So now in this type of question, first we have to tell them that what will happen if we heat the limestone. That means we have to show which gas is going to evolve from that reaction. So on heating limestone, that means calcium carbonate, it decomposes to form carbon dioxide gas and calcium oxide. So that we can mention in this way, like calcium carbonate, which is into the solid state, after heating, we are going to get calcium oxide and carbon dioxide will be evolved from that reaction. Okay, and now this carbon dioxide we are going to pass through the lime water, that is the freshly prepared lime water. So this carbon dioxide gas passed through the freshly prepared lime water, that means calcium hydroxide. It forms water soluble precipitate of calcium carbonate. So this can be shown by this equation, chemical reaction. This is the calcium OH2. This 2 should be the small one here. Okay, and plus the carbon dioxide CO2 plus calcium carbonate and the H2O will be there. Okay, so here we get the calcium carbonate and this down arrow shows that it's a precipitation. So that is why we can say that calcium carbonate, and the color of this calcium carbonate is white. So this insoluble calcium carbonate is white in color, and that is why lime water turns milky. When you pass a carbon dioxide through that, it turns milky because of this calcium carbonate. So you can see the which points you are supposed to write into this. Okay, so one is describing what actually happens, one reaction, again the second reaction, and what is the conclusion, why it turns milky. So in this way we are going to get the two reactions and its small description, 1 or 2 sentence description. It will give us the complete 2 marks. Okay, very good. So now we are going to move on the next question. That is the question number B. And as we know that it is the place where you easily find one, that means numerical. In this first question, they ask A ball falls off a table and reaches the ground in 1 second, assuming g is equal to 10 meter per second square. Calculate its speed on reaching the ground and height of the table. So two things we have to calculate, its speed and the height of the table. So let's see what is the given data. So this is the given data, you can see. And now how to calculate, okay? So first formula we can use V is equal to GT. Now, why we are going to use direct this formula V equal to GT? It is because this is the free fall condition. As they have mentioned that the ball, that means a falls off. That means nobody has purposely pushed that ball, but it is just a free fall. That means initial velocity was 0. Okay, it is falling from the table only, height of the table. So considering these things, we can see that V is equal to GT. That means we can multiply 10 into 1. It will give us the velocity 10 meter per second. So remember the unit as well. Now about the height, that means the second question they asked height of the table. So again, we can use the free fall formula for the height. That is equal to half GT square. H is equal to half into 10 into 1 square, and height is become 5 meter. So height of the table is also get as a 5 meter. So we can conclude all these things into the conclusion statement like this. So this is the one of the important part. Most of the students, they miss on this to write down the answer statement. So answer statement, please, every time whenever you solve the numerical, you practice yourself that you are going to write down the answer statement. So speed of the ball on reaching the ground is 10 meter per second, and the height of the table is 5 meter in this way. Okay, so nobody can deduct a single or half mark from your answer. Okay, so now we are moving on the next question. Okay, now here they says observe the given figure and state the rule related. That means they just ask you to write down the labels A and B. We are not supposed to state this rule here right now. Okay, so okay, so we will just put the labels here. Each label carries 1 mark. So you can say here A is a direction of electric current and B is the direction of magnetic field. So this is the right hand thumb rule, and you have, if you are they ask you to state that rule, then you have to state that rule. Okay, so in this way you are going to solve here only the A and B. Okay, now the next one. Okay, so now the next one is they have asked about the define specific heat and give SI and CGS unit of specific heat capacity. Okay, so here specific heat capacity and specific heat, we have to see the definition here. Specific heat, one definition, 1 mark. The amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of a unit mass of an object by 1 degree Celsius is called the specific heat of that object. So that is the definition for the specific heat. Now they ask, give SI and CGS unit. So SI unit of specific heat is joule per kg degree Celsius, and CGS unit for the specific heat is calorie per gram degree Celsius. So this is again one of the easiest question in which you can see that it will give you the answer, correct answer. Okay, now we are going to move on the next part. And the next question we are going to see is question number 4. Yes. So on question number 4, in the modern periodic table, the position of 1 to 20 elements are shown here. Identify the elements A and B, write their atomic number. So I will suggest that each student, they need to remember all 1 to 20 elements. Okay, so it will be easy for them to attempt these kind of questions. These are very easy questions. Okay, and board may ask these type of questions because they want to test whether you have studied all 20 elements or not. So here we have to write down the name of A and B as well as the atomic number. So name of A is, yes, that is correct. It is the lithium with the atomic number 3, and B is neon with the atomic number 10. Okay, so in this way we can write down the number, atomic number as well as the name of the element. Now moving to the next question. Now here each element name and atomic number carries half mark, so this will be the 2-mark question. Now the next is state the Newton's law of gravitation and write its mathematical form. So Newton's law of gravitation, universal law of gravitation, every object in the universe attracts every other object with a definite force. This force is directly proportional to the product of the masses of the two objects and is inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Okay, so this definition as it is, you have to write down, it carries 1 mark. Then as they ask the mathematical form, you should take the help of this diagram. You know, this is the diagram given in your book, and then you have to write down the expression. The F is equal to m1 into m2 upon d square, F equal to g into m1 m2 upon d square. And what is the g? So g is the constant of proportionality, and it is called universal gravitational constant. Its value is 6.673 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square, or kg raised to minus 2. So in this way you have to attempt this question. Now we are going to move on the next question. The next question is about question number 3. Now this is again very important question. Now in question number 3 we have the 8 questions. Out of these 8 questions we are supposed to solve any 5 questions. And this is again the place, first question is the place mostly for the numerical. So you can see what numerical. An iron ball of mass 3 kg is released from height 125 meter and falls freely to the ground. Assuming that the value of g is 10 meter per second square, calculate the time taken by the A. Okay, I think something is changed here. Okay, yes, time taken by the ball to reach the ground, velocity of the ball on reaching the ground, and the height of the ball at half the time it takes to reach the ground. So now this is the given data. It's a height and the gravitational acceleration 10 meter per second square. Then we have to calculate the time taken by the ball to reach the ground, velocity of the ball, and height of the ball at the half. Okay, these are the things to find. So let's do one by one. So first we have to find the distance. So you can say that S is equal to ut plus half at square. So in this way, the distance is given as a 125. Using that, we are going to calculate the time. So 125 is given. So time is become 5 seconds. The ball takes 5 seconds to reach the ground. Here U is taken 0 because the ball is released. That iron ball is released from the height. So initial value of initial velocity is 0. And now we can also consider this as a free fall, and you can use only the half gt square as a formula. That will also give you the same answer. Okay, so try to see whether if it's you can use both methods for free fall condition as well as this one also. Again, second, the formula v is equal to u plus gt. So here again u is equal to 0. So final velocity will become 10 into 5, that is the 50 meter per second. So the velocity of the ball on reaching the ground will become 50 meter per second. Now, after half time, what will happen? That half time will be the 2.5 second. And after that time, how much distance it will cover? So in a half time, the ball will cover almost 31.25 meter as a distance. But this distance is from the top and not from the bottom. Okay, and we want to find the height, and height is always calculated from the bottom, that means from the surface of the earth. So we have to deduct that 31.25 from the 125. So here in that case, we can see that if suppose the ball is here and it is falling down like this. Okay, so in that case we will say after 2.5 seconds the ball must have reached at this place, and this distance is what? Nothing but the 31 point. It is the 31.25. So this is the 31.25 which you can relate here. यहाँ पे. Okay, and in this way it is going to fall. So remaining distance, this distance will become the 93.75. Clear? So all these things we can say see here. Now we are going to see on the next question. The next question is, what is hypermetropia, how it is corrected, and explain with the figure. So metropia, in this defect, this is the defect, yes, defect in the human eye. And in this case, the human eye can see distant object clearly, but they cannot see nearby object distinctly. In this defect, the near point of eye is no longer at 25 centimeter, but it shifts farther away. Okay, so that is the case. This defect also known as farsightedness. So initially we are going to mention about the defect, or what is the defect, what are the we can say that what things happen to that human eye which has that defect. Now we are going to say this is the normal eye. Okay, in that we know there is a convex lens and it is perfectly form an image on the retina. So this is the far away objects, they can be seen clearly, though this is the defect. If this is a defected eye, then also the far away objects can able to form the image on the retina perfectly. So no issue with the far away objects. But now let's see what is the reason for the farsightedness. So first thing is curvature of the cornea and the eye lens decreases, so that converging power of lens become less. Okay. Then second is due to flattening of the eyeball, the distance between the lens and retina decreases. So the image will form just behind the retina. So you can see the hypermetric eye, it will form the image like this. So nearby objects, the light from the nearby object will fall on the eye and the lens will not able to converge within the given distance. Okay, so the two reasons, first is it may be because of the cornea. This cornea is not able to converge it, or second distance, the second reason is the distance between the lens and the retina is decreased. So that is the reason. So this is the hypermetropic eye. Okay. Now the next one. This defect can be corrected by using convex lens with the proper focal length. This lens converges the incident rays before they reach the lens. The lens then converges them to form image on the retina. Correction of hypermetropic eye using lens, that means the convex lens. So in this way, you can get a convex lens. That convex lens help the cornea to converge the light. तो पहले ही थोड़ा सा वो उसको कन्वर्स करके फिर लेंस पे जाएगा, तो लेंस उसको प्रॉपरली अगेन फॉर्म द इमेज ऑन द रेटिना, ये हो जाएगा. So this is the way you are going to write down the answer. Okay. Now the next question, this will give you the half mark again. The next question, describe the merits of Mendeleev's periodic table. So Mendeleev's के periodic table के merits हमें discuss करने हैं. Okay. So again, properly, first top point is atomic masses of some elements were revised so as to give them proper place into the periodic table. So revise कर सकते हो. Okay. It is based on again the properties. Okay, properties of the elements. When Mendeleev find the relative properties, he found that the atomic mass of some substances like beryllium, okay, it needs to be changed. So from 14.09, he changed it to the 9.4, and beryllium was placed before the boron. So this is the merit of the Mendeleev's periodic table. And second one, that is the very important, Mendeleev kept vacant places in the periodic table for element not discovered till then. That means using his classification of elements, he can predict the elements. Okay, that means the vacant places can be filled. That is why this is very respected work by the Mendeleev. So here he predicted vacant places as name as Eka boron, Eka aluminum, and Eka silicon, and later, after discovery of these elements, they were known as scandium, gallium, and germanium, respectively. Okay, so this is the one of the merit. And then the properties of these elements also predicted by the Mendeleev. Okay, So there was, and the last point was, there was no place reserved for the noble gases in the Mendeleev's original periodic table. So after discovery, Mendeleev created the zero group without disturbing the original periodic table in which the noble gases were fitted very well. So that means whatever work he has done before the noble gases, it was intact. He just added that last column, that means zero group, into his Mendeleev's periodic table. Okay. Now the next question, that is the balance the following equation statewise. So most of the students, they get doubts like how to write down this question, or where we get the marks on which state. Okay, so let's see one by one. So first, write down the given formula, what a given chemical equation as it is. Okay, and then compare the number of atoms of all element present in the reactant and the products. To compare, you have to create one table. So you can see the table like this. So here what you are going to write down, reactants, which is from the left side, and product, which is from the right side. Okay, here you can see that this is the reactants and these are the products. Now the elements, sodium, oxygen, hydrogen, sulfur. These are the elements. And reactants from the left side. That means you have to just count how many sodiums are in the reactant side. Then how many sodium are from the product side. So you can see here, 1 sodium, 2 sodium. Oxygen, there are 5 oxygens into the reactants and 5 oxygens into the product. Hydrogen, there are 3 in reactants and 2 atoms into the product. And sulfur, there are 1 and 1. So in this way you have to make a table, it will give you a mark. Okay, then from this table we have to see, that means we have to check which atom needs to be balanced first. So here oxygen is almost matched and sulfur is also matched. The only thing is the sodium and the hydrogen. Then we are going to see the biggest atom, biggest molecule. So biggest molecule, there are 2 molecules, H2SO4 as well as the Na2SO4. So Na2SO4, it contains same 4 plus 1, 5, 5 plus 2, 7. 7 atoms into that. So we are going to start with the Na2SO4. Okay, so it is easy to balance the sodium first. So to balance sodium, what we have to do? So from the table, we can say that if it was into the reactant NaOH and into the product, it was Na2SO4. So that is why into the product, the number of sodium atom was 2. So to balance, we have to multiply NaOH by 2. Okay, and in this way, we are going to write down the new equation. Okay, after this table, you are going to get the mark, and new equation you can write down. What we say, we are going to write down 2 times NaOH. So we are going to write down 2 times NaOH here. It will give us, and the rest will be write down like that. There will be no other changes we are going to make here. Now again, we are going to compare these elements. Okay, that means the number of atoms to the left and the right. So after comparing, we will find that now, yes, the sodium has been balanced, but now because of that change, the oxygen number of oxygen atoms into the reactant and the products are not matching. Same with the hydrogen happens. So we are going to again, we need to write down this comparison, and we are going to again balance the hydrogen atoms, because just by looking at these numbers 6, 5 and 4, 2, it is easy to balance the hydrogen. We are just going to multiply the hydrogen into 2 into the products, but where into the products? So that is why we have to write down again this way. Hydrogen is present into the NaOH as well as H2SO4 into the reactant, and hydrogen is present into the H2O in the product. So we are going to multiply there by 2. So I think this should be, yes, just a moment. Yeah, these 2 into the reactant. So this is again H2 should be multiplied by 2 times. So this will become 2 into 2. Here 2 into 2, it will become 4. Okay. So in this way, we are going to write it down. Now, the next thing, after balancing that means after multiplying the H2 molecule by 2, we are going to get the equation like this. 2 times NaOH plus H2SO4 gives us Na2SO4 plus 2H2O. So this is the balance equation we are going to get, and this equation you are supposed to highlight so that the balance equation you will get the full marks for that answer. Okay, so in this way we can see. Now moving to the next question, they asked us to observe a picture and answer the following question. So the picture, I think it has not displayed right now here, but it was the picture about the a pond, aqueous animals, and the aqueous life is shown into the pond, and it is into the winter season. So the first question was, which property do you understand in this picture? So it was the anomalous behavior of water. So don't just mention the anomalous behavior of water, because you are supposed to write down that property also. So what is the anomalous behavior of water? In general, when a liquid is heated up to the certain temperature, it expands, and when cooled, it contracts. If we heat water from 0 to 4 degree, it contracts instead of expanding. The behavior of water between its temperature from 0 degrees Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius is called anomalous behavior of water. Okay. Now, what is the temperature of the water at the surface? So at the surface, the temperature is 0 degrees Celsius, or it may be below than 0 degrees Celsius. Okay. Because it is depend upon the environment, the atmospheric temperature. If it is a low, because into the polar region, it is less than 0 degree also, into the negative degree Celsius also. So we cannot sure about. That is why we will mention it's a 0 degree Celsius or below than 0 degree Celsius. And what is the temperature below the layer of the ice of surface? That is the, we can write down as a 4 degrees Celsius. So these two easy answers will give you the marks. Now, next is explain the froth flotation method with a neat labeled diagram. So here, the diagram should be from the book as it is. Okay, so you can practice on this, label it. Important thing is to show the air supply into the agitator, which forms bubbles into the water and the point finally. After that bubbles, it will create a froth, and froth will be collected here. Okay, it is the concentrated sulfide ore, and the gang will be come out from the bottom of that agitator. Okay, now this is the flotation method. It will carry marks as a one. Now we are going to write down how it works. The froth flotation method is based on two opposite properties like hydrophilic and hydrophobic of the particles. We know that. What is the hydrophilic and hydrophobic? Hydrophobic means it will not get wetted by the water. Hydrophilic means it's easily get wetted by the water. In this case, the gang will be the hydrophilic, but the sulfide particles are the hydrophobic. The hydrophobic particles will be wetted by the oil. That is why we are going to use that. So here you can say that in this method, the finely ground ore is put into the big tank containing ample amount of water. Pine oil or eucalyptus oil is added in the water for the formation of froth. Okay, now how it will form? There is an agitator rotating around its axis in the center of the flotation tank. Then a pressurized air is blown through the water. Bubbles are formed due to the blown air. Because of these, foam rises to the surface of the water and it starts float. Okay, so particles of sulfide ore float with the foam on water as they preferably get wetted by the oil. Yes, the sulfide particles, they are hydrophobic and they are wetted by the oil. That is why they float with the froth. And this method is useful for the concentration of zinc flame and the copper pyrite. Okay, so that is also information you have to provide for which type of ores we can use here. That means to concentrate the zinc, or we can say that the sulfide. Okay, now the next one, it is the with neat label diagram, explain the dispersion of light. So again, you have to draw the diagram, the prism, glass prism, and the ray of light. Okay, instead of going in this way, the ray get refracted and dispersed, and you have to mention about the Vibgyor, that means the sequence of the color in that diagram. Okay, so this is the dispersion of the light. So What is the dispersion of light? The process of separation of light into its component colors while passing through a medium is called the dispersion of light. The refractive index of medium is different for different colors, and that is why they are, you can see the different 7 colors, the spectrum of 7 colors, because the refractive index is different for the different one. Then the next one, when the white light is incident on the prism, different colors bend through the different angles. Among the 7 colors, red bends the least, while the violet bends the most. So this information you have to write down, and the 7 colors emerge along with different paths and get separated with, and we get spectrum of 7 colors. So all this you have to write, and you get the marks in this question, the dispersion of light. Now, the next is the complete the table. Okay, so you can see that in the question paper, they have given you the communication satellite, and there were the 2 blanks. That means you have to write down the function as well as the name of Indian satellite series. Okay, so for communication satellite, its function is establish communication between different location in world through use of specific waves. And name of the satellite series is INSAT and GSAT, Indian satellites. Okay, series, that is the INSAT and GSAT. Similarly, the second in the second row, they have given you the function of satellite, that is the study and prediction of weather. Obviously, this is the study of weather and the prediction. So it can be done by only the weather satellite. So type of satellite is weather satellite, and again the series is INSAT and GSAT. In last, they have just third row, they have just mentioned the IRS. Okay, so this is the name of the satellite series they have given. So from this, you should know what is the that means why this satellite is used here. Now here in this chapter also, this table is very important, and because of that, if you know this table, at least one question will be there. So from here, we can say that IRS is nothing but the geosynchronous that means Indian remote sensing satellites. Okay, so remote sensing hai, so that is why it is used for what? The study of forest, deserts, oceans, polars, or ice on Earth's surface. Exploration and management of natural resources, observation and guidance in case of natural calamities like flood and earthquake situation. So type of the satellites is the Earth observation satellite. Okay, so they observe the particular area. Okay, now we are going to see the next, that is the last question, and in this question, observe the following diagram and answer the questions given below. So this is the diagram you can see here, and in this diagram you have to first identify the given diagram. तो ये डायग्राम किसका है, ये आइडेंटिफाई करना है. तो काफी सारे बच्चे थोड़ा कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं कि भाई ये क्या है, मोटर है या जनरेटर है, और जनरेटर है तो डीसी है या एसी है, ऐसा कंफ्यूजन होता है. तो वो पहले कंफ्यूजन हम दूर करेंगे. द फर्स्ट थिंग इज यू हैव टू फर्स्ट चेक what is connected near this key, or whether there is any galvanometer or ammeter, or is there a battery. If it is a battery, that means it is supplying current initially, and then this will rotate. Okay, and if it is not a battery, if there is any meter like galvanometer or ammeter, that means it is just measuring instrument. It is not supplying any electricity into that circuit. So if it is a measuring instrument, that means the current supposed to produce in that circuit by another mechanism. Okay, and that is why it will become the generator. Now in this case, they have shown us the batteries. That means this is definitely a motor. So this motor, we are going to see that there are 2 split rings as well. Okay, so this motor will be the motor with the batteries. So we are going to identify the equipment as an electric motor. So this will give you a correct mark. Okay, now write the principle on which the above appliance works. Now most of the students, they write down Fleming's left hand rule for this, or in case of generator they write down Fleming's right hand. Those are the rules. Those are not the principles. Okay. So what the Fleming's left hand rule do? It shows what should be the direction. If the current, that means current is in a particular direction, magnetic field is in a particular direction, then what will be the force applied on that conductor, okay, by the magnetic field? That is shown by the Fleming's left hand rule. So the principle you have to mention it as that whenever current flows through a conductor in presence of magnetic field, a force is exerted on that conductor. So this is the only thing. So instead of this also, we can say that whenever a current carrying conductor placed in a magnetic field, the magnetic field exert a force, okay, exert a force on that conductor. So in this way, you can write down the principle. Now, the next question, write the working of above appliance. Now, this is a little bit long answer, okay, because you have to write down the working. So what are the major points that I will let you know, okay? So when start writing with the working, you have to just say first the circuit is completed and the current is flows in the branch AB of the loop from A to B through the carbon brushes E to F. So this is the short description. Says the direction of magnetic field in from North Pole to the South Pole, according to Fleming's left-hand rule, a force is exerted on the branch AB and pushes it down. So you have to mention the start, where it is going to start. That means how that coil is going to rotate. So first AB side will be pushed down. So obviously the next point will be the CD. What about the CD side? The CD branch in the opposite direction to the branch AB. Therefore, the force exert on that, it will be the upward direction. Thus, the loop and the obviously loop is connected to the axle. So loop and axle, they are start rotating into the anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so this will be the anti-clockwise direction. So this is about the first half. Now, after half rotation, what is going to happen? The split rings X and Y, they will come in contact with the carbon brush E and F. Okay, so now the current in the loop starts flowing in the direction of DCBA. That means the current will be reversed. Therefore, a source is the force is exerted on the branch DC in downward direction and on the branch BA in upward direction. And loop continues to rotate in anti-clockwise direction. So the direction, though the current changes its path, it will not changes the direction of the loop. Okay, it will continuously rotate into the anti-clockwise. The current in the loop is reversed after each half and rotation of the loop, and axle continue to rotate into the anti-clockwise direction. And that gives the motion, that means this anti-clockwise direction motion to that axle. Okay, so in this way, the motor works. Okay, so last is write the use of above appliance. So the use of above appliance, that means in which appliances you use the electric motor. So we use electric motor mostly in commercial purpose, the electric fan, washing machine, etc. Sometimes the students, they used to write down electric fan, exhaust fan, ceiling fan. So they are talking about only fan. So instead of that, give different type of machines. That means different appliances. Okay. So in this way, you can get a mark for this answer. So this is, you can see that it is very easy to give the answers such kind of sub questions. Okay, so prepare for that. So for example, in this case, we can just, you have to just identify the equipment, write the principle, a simple way you have to write down the working and then the use. So this will give you 5 out of 5 marks in this question. So no need to worry about this question. Now go to the next question. So question number 4, the second question, they ask draw structural formula for the following. Okay, so this 2 is for the marks. So they have asked monomer of PVC. So this is I think this is not the correct one. Okay, so we need to change this for the PVC. For PVC, it is the polyvinyl chloride. So chlorine should be added instead of the hydrogen. So I can directly draw. So this is normal polyethylene. So I am going to change it to the PVC. Okay. So how it is going to change? So you can see here, it is not that much difficult. You can see here, this is the hydrogen. Okay. So one hydrogen we need to replace with the chlorine like this. Okay. And now this will become the monomer of the PVC. So in this way, you can write down HCH, HCCl. Okay, and this will become the PVC. So I am going to remove this hydrogen. Instead of it will become the chlorine. So this is the monomer of the PVC. Okay, so that is the thing, monomer of the PVC. And the next question, that is about butanoic acid. So butanoic acid, again, as it is the butane, so 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons, and oic acid, that means OOH will be there. So at the end here, you can just write down the CH3, CH2, CH2, and COOH. So this will become the butanoic acid. Now, the next one, that is the write the IUPAC. Okay, so and it's a structural formula. Just give me a moment. So yes. So they have given you this structural formula CH3CO CH2 CH3. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the parent name is the butane. And here you can see that the carbon is combined with the oxygen. Now here also this can be mentioned as one carbon is combined with the oxygen by the double bonds like this. So this kind of structure will be there. Okay, so CH3 C double bond. So here you can see the double bond will be here with the oxygen. Okay, so you can predict, you can write down this in the form also, and then you can easily identify it is the ketone group, and that is why the name of this structural formula is the butanol. Now, sometimes students wants to write down the number. That means whether we should write down the number like second carbon or not. So if you check the ketone group, it is always it will be not at the ending of the carbon. So it will be always into these two carbons. And if you count the number from these carbons like 1, 2, 3, 4 or 1, 2, 3, 4, that will be always the second carbon. So that is the only case. Butanone will be the only case. That means the oxygen is combined to the second carbon. And that is why if you do not mention the 2, that is also fine. And if you want to mention, you have to just write down the butane 2, 1. So it is again the good practice to write down, mention that one also. So butane 2, 1 is also correct, or butanone is also correct. Now the next is the HCHO. So again, you have to see it how it is combined with the oxygen. So it will be like this. Okay, and the remaining 2 are the hydrogens. So in this way, it is the aldehyde group. Okay, it is the aldehyde group, and methanol, you can see here the methanol. That means because of the only single carbon. So एक carbon है तो ये methanol हो जाएगा. So you have to identify the IUPAC name as a methanol. So in this way, the last question you can get the answer. So that is the one. And now the final one is the draw electron dot structure of ethane. Ethane का इलेक्ट्रॉन डॉट स्ट्रक्चर निकालना है, तो किसी भी एलिमेंट में आपको अगर उसका डॉट स्ट्रक्चर निकालना है एटम का, तो फर्स्ट यू हैव टू राइट ड्रॉ द नंबर ऑफ वैलेंस इलेक्ट्रॉन्स अराउंड इट. सो हियर एक कार्बन है, जस्ट गिव मी अ मोमेंट. एक कार्बन है, तो कार्बन के सराउंडिंग में उसके हमें वैलेंस इलेक्ट्रॉन लिखने हैं. तो कार्बन के वैलेंस इलेक्ट्रॉन है 4. तो यू कैन सी द काउंट हियर 1, 2, 3 and 4. ये मैंने कार्बन के निकाले इलेक्ट्रॉन्स. ओके, नाउ सिमिलरली हाइड्रोजन, इन केस ऑफ हाइड्रोजन इट हैज ओनली वन वैलेंस इलेक्ट्रॉन. तो हाइड्रोजन का वैलेंस इलेक्ट्रॉन मैंने यहाँ पे मेंशन किया है. Okay, so one is for carbon, one is hydrogen. At each places you can see that एक जो कार्बन का है, एक हाइड्रोजन का है। तो यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? इन दिस केस अगेन दिस कार्बन हैज इट्स 4 वैलेंस इलेक्ट्रॉन। लेट्स से दिस इज 1, दिस इज 2, दिस इज 3 एंड अगेन दिस इज द 4th वन। तो ये 4 इस कार्बन के होंगे। So this carbon has their 4 valence electron, this carbon has 4 valence electron, and every hydrogen here also they have their valence electron like this. So in this way we represent the electron dot structure. Now at the end, if you count around carbon, there are 6, I'm sorry, there are 8 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is the sharing of electron to achieve the octet. In this case also, this carbon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this carbon, it has also 6 electrons around. In case of hydrogen, it's duplet. That means every hydrogen got the 2 electrons in the its sharing phase. Okay, so this hydrogen, it has a 2 electrons. This hydrogen also has the 2 electrons. So in this way, you can draw the electron dot structure of the ethane. Okay, so I hope you understand how to solve this. Okay, and so very soon we are going to share that document also, which will help you. Okay, so this is the last one, and that is the end of this one. I will try to get that document for you. Just a moment. Yes. So as I told you that in model answer, you have to just write down the options. So you can see these options here. Okay. So I'm just going to scroll it down. So we have discussed this type of answers only. So you can see in this way, you can write down the questions. That means, sorry, the answers, and you are going to get the marks. Okay. Here the specific heat, then the Newton's universal law of gravitation. Question number 3. Okay, always write down new question on the new page like this. So also you will get this document by your respective teachers. They will share this with you. Okay, so yes, this will help you to understand how to write down the answer sheets and get the correct points, and it will carry the correct marks. Okay. This is just a model answer. So it will just show you the path. So yeah, this will be the, here we are going to change this. Okay. So that is the end. Okay. So there are only 2 months, and yes, you have already completed with your science one. So definitely you are going to get the good marks. Wish you all the best for your future exams. Thank you.